Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So a little bit of a different topic today, but I hope you find it interesting or useful. As always, the goal of this channel is to provide the most up-to-date information, even if it's not in the news, but from other people's experiences. So recently I watched a video by a fellow YouTuber. He happens to have a pretty decent sized trucking company in Chicago. He is Eastern European. He, I believe, is half Ukrainian, half Georgian, just like me. I'm not sure, but he was talking about what he believes is going to happen to his company in the near future, what is already happening to his company, and what will happen to other companies that are Eastern European, considering the new regulations and all the changes that are happening. So considering the fact that, and I'm assuming here, but I think I'm correct, most of the folks on this channel do not understand Russian, I thought that it was important to relay this information to you to explain how Eastern European trucking companies are reacting to changes in regulations that are affecting the trucking industry. So let's get into it. Ready? Let's go. All right, first we're going to start with understanding how many, not all, but many Eastern European trucking companies operate. And this is critical information in order to understand what will happen in the future. Number one, many Eastern European companies have expanded like crazy during 2021 with COVID rates, so a lot of them have pretty sizable fleets. Number two, many of them also are able to, I don't know how, I have no proof of this, but many of them are able to hire new CDL holders and often will even pay for your CDL training as long as you agree to work for their company. Now, there are two schools of thought. Some of them, of course, I am sure, I don't know what percentage, but some of them just don't insure their drivers, but there are others who have flexible insurance policies, I suppose. Number three, almost always drivers are classified as independent contractors in Eastern European companies, no W-2s. And number four, and there's a lot here, is that the mentality is very different. These companies usually prefer to hire other Eastern Europeans as drivers because the mentality is different and they're expecting their drivers to run like maniacs. This is the only way I can describe it. You run like crazy and you earn more than the average American company driver. We're talking about at least 70 cents per mile, 70, 75, or 30% of gross. Now, while there are cases where Americans do end up working for Eastern European companies, what you will often hear is that, yeah, the pay is better, you're able to make more money, but the way you are expected to run is insane. All right, now that we're clear on the structure of a lot of these Eastern European companies, let's talk about what I have heard, not just through YouTube, but also through the grapevine. These companies are very worried right now, and that's putting it lightly. Number one, because these companies usually will hire Eastern European drivers, not American drivers, and again, I'll repeat this, a lot of American drivers will refuse to be classified as an independent contractor, which is a system that these companies do rely on. And also the pace of work, it is insane. And this is something that a lot of American drivers will not agree to or will leave shortly after working for these companies because it's really insane and there's not as much home time. So yeah, back to my point. The business model of these companies, of some of them or most of them, it relies on the fact that you are hiring Eastern European drivers, which means that they have more instances of folks who are not proficient in English, for example, but that's not the only thing, and we'll get into it in just a moment. So what they are experiencing right now is that they are losing a percentage of their workforce while drivers take an unspecified amount of time to go either learn English or get out of the industry altogether. But that, again, as I said, is not the biggest issue for these companies. The bigger issue that they're facing is the lack of drivers to replace the ones that are leaving. No, I'm not saying there is a driver shortage, there is a very big difference. Many of these companies relied on the lax immigration policies in order to find drivers, people who come here with a work authorization or under a refugee program or under a humanitarian parole program, which automatically gave these folks a work authorization. And this means that these people were able to get their CDL, and it would be valid as long as their work authorization document is valid. Now, this work authorization document needs to be renewed every 1 to 5 years, depending on your situation. But the moment it expires is the moment your CDL expires as well. And what we're seeing right now is that a lot of work authorizations are not being renewed anymore. So many of these Eastern European companies are also losing drivers to the fact that they cannot renew their work authorization. Their CDL is expired, and now they don't have as big of a pool to pull from in order to replace those drivers who have left. All right, let's look at what's happening, and I'm going to give you a very simple example. Let's take an Eastern European company. It has 200 trucks, and about 30% of their workforce either does not speak English proficiently enough not to be placed out of service starting June 25th, or they are on a work authorization that cannot be renewed anymore, so they are losing their CDL. It is expiring. Now, that's 60 trucks that are now sitting without a driver. Now, we can't forget that people are going to leave a company for other reasons. They found a better opportunity, so let's say that it's 70 trucks that are sitting without a driver, and there's no ability to find drivers who will take the place of those who left because of the changing immigration policies. Now, let's also say that a lot of these trucks, a good percentage of these 70 trucks, are financed, and they're financed recently. They were bought in the past year, so they still have about 2 to 4 years of payments left on them. The result? Downsizing or shutting down. So this YouTuber that I keep referencing, his name is Mr. Gela. He correctly stated that those who have freshly financed equipment are going to be in really big trouble, because if freshly financed equipment is sitting there without a driver, it's just a matter of months before they have to shut down. But those who have trucks that are almost paid off are in a little bit of an easier situation, because they can just sell a portion of their trucks and use that money in order to continue operating. But downsizing is a given. So let me tell you a real story that I know of. One of my business partners has an acquaintance who has about 100 trucks in his fleet. Not quite, but almost there. And something that he has shared is that 80 to 90% of his workforce either does not speak English or is on a work authorization. And the trucks that he has, they are not bought out, right? They're all financed. So if you're thinking right now, well, what's the problem? Why doesn't he just hire American drivers and continue running? I'll explain. These companies, when they are created, they are just not built to survive with American drivers. They're just not. If they add W-2 drivers with normal working schedules, they are just gonna go bankrupt. Now, in terms of whether this is the right way to do business or the wrong way, I'll let you make the decision for yourselves. I'm just here to keep you in the loop and tell you what I have heard so that we're all on the same page. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining and watching today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week and weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.